Hey, what's up, Instagram? We are here in the beautiful beach side of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands on a nice overcast morning. I just wanted to speak a little bit today about moving abroad with your family, living, in different countries, choosing the country, the right country for you, and all of that good stuff, because it's really a step-by-step process when you're preparing to make a shift, especially leaving your home country and preparing to move abroad. And I want to share my expertise and background because I've been doing it for many years now, really like over 17 years, planning moves to other countries, and having my children with me. So I just want to talk a little bit about that. Let's see if anyone comes on. I'll give it a few seconds. In the meantime, you can check out this beautiful scene here. But yeah, maybe I'll just talk because it's kind of early and I'm not really guaranteed anyone's going to come on per se. But choosing a new place to live abroad. So many of us are just getting kind of fed up and tired from living in the U.S. and living with all of the struggles and the constant spirit of struggle and strife and just the rat race energy altogether. And so a lot of us are looking at other options, looking at places that are more affordable, that are more sustainable for a good life, who offer places that offer a good quality of life. All of these things, I feel like a lot of us are there right now. We're looking for that. We're hoping to be able to get our families out of this matrix. So I try to just support families with that because I think it's really important, especially for the sake of the children. Greetings. For the sake of the children, that we go ahead and focus on creating a plan, kind of like an escape plan, to be honest with you. Because for me, and I haven't really lived stateside consistently for, I don't know, like almost 10 years now. I'm usually abroad or offshore somewhere, but for me, it's not sustainable. I don't see how children could be raised in those environments safely. You know what I mean? My background is I have unschooled and homeschooled my children most of their lives. My daughter is just recently graduated from an online-based high school when we were in Brazil. So that was in 2020. What year is it? 2020. I think she might have finished in 2022 sometime. She finished high school while we were in Brazil. And hey, Rada, hola, oi, todo bien, todo bien. Yes, so we are just basically wanting to just share our background and experience. Like I said, it's been like 17 years. So basically, I mean, the main thing that you want to think about when you're trying to choose a place to move abroad is first and foremost, what your budget is. I mean, you really want to think about if you are trying to move to what they call developing nation, and what it would look like for you to be able to live in those places with or without, maybe you don't have a job or maybe you're not working online. So, with or without a steady job, income that comes in via a job. There are so many options in terms of having income. As you know, the internet is a wide open playground. It's wide open for everyone to make money in various ways. And as well, and you can have a job online, you can have small businesses online, you can do contract work via the internet. So there's so many things that you can do, but you have to decide, am I going to be living off of passive income? Am I going to need a job that's there in my local environment? And you need to be thinking about all these things, because these things are going to let you kind of get a feel for where you can go. Like there's parts of Latin America, for instance, in Brazil, there's not a lot of jobs available to foreigners, but you can get them, and ones that you can get that are more underground, that are more accessible for you when you don't have residency, when you're not there on any kind of particular visa outside of tourists, is teaching English. So people still teach English. This was something I did in Brazil like 22 years ago, 23 years ago. I taught English to adults children. I had all kinds of students. And so even though I didn't do it this time when I was there with my children, that is an option. So you do have some countries where you will have that kind of underground type option. But the reality is you need to have your budget set and know, where your money's coming from every month, whether there's passive income as well, and just have your budget set. And that's going to let you know where is a good place for you, right? To go. Latin America is really good. Some places are more expensive than others. We just came back from Costa Rica. Costa Rica is not cheap. It's not a budget. I don't know why people would even consider it like a budget place. It just is not. You're basically, the lifestyle in Costa Rica will cost you what it will cost to live somewhere like in the southern states of America or something. Some of those southern states, like not Atlanta or Florida or nothing like that, but Mississippi. So it's still stateside living to me, still stateside pricing. So I wouldn't pick Costa Rica if you were looking for savings. Some of the places where you can live well, with a high quality of life, natural food, fresh food, access to things. Colombia, a lot of people are doing Colombia right now. Brazil is great. I love Brazil, but like we say, Brazil's not for newbies. It's not for beginners. It's not an easy place to transition to for a number of reasons. But if you can do it, it's a gem of a place. Other places that it's considered more doable, obviously Mexico lindo. Everybody's in Mexico right now. I mean, I have like so many friends there that are just living with their kids, with their youths, and just creating a new life for themselves. They've escaped the public school systems of America and the hells of America, and they're living like normal people in Mexico. So there's a lot of options that we have, but first you need to be able to nail down where, and quality of life is really key. So you need to be thinking about not only, okay, can I afford this or not, but what do I need? Do I need a cool place? Do I need an arid environment that isn't very damp and moist? Am I looking for tropics? Am I looking for ocean, seaside? Am I looking for, like for me, we were just in Costa Rica for some reason. I wanted more of a inland, mountainous or valley kind of environment. Thanks for the love. So we went to, I wanted to go to Puerto Viejo. I was interested in the Caribbean coast, but I live in the Caribbean a lot. I live in the tropics a lot. I was still in the tropics. Costa Rica is all tropics, but we decided to live near the hot springs and the volcanoes and the waterfalls. And so we were up north in Arenal area. And so that was just a choice we made for that 6-month period that we were in Costa Rica. But like I said, you really need to kind of know quality of life wise what you're going to be looking for. Are you looking for a rich art culture? Are you looking for somewhere that's kind of small and quaint where you can get involved in the community? Are you going to be looking for somewhere that offers a very, cosmopolitan urban environment? We were also living down in Sao Paulo in the south of Brazil for 6 months prior to coming to Costa Rica. We left Brazil after Sao Paulo. But we were in Sao Paulo. We were living in this area called Villa Madalena. And for me, it ticked off a lot for me, except that it wasn't a tropical and, beautiful oceanside environment, or there wasn't a lot of water access and stuff like that. But it ticked off a lot in terms of what I like culturally. So Sao Paulo has a lot of music, a lot of live music, a lot of samba, pagode, a lot of art everywhere. I love a lot of visual art, a lot of arts and music and dance. And, it wasn't like the way you're inundated in that when you're in Bahia, Brazil, which is a whole nother thing. But it was really rich and dope in its own way, and I love Sao Paulo. Like, we had a blast there. But that's a super international cosmopolitan place. Amazing. 14 million people, 15 million people, and it runs smooth. It's a dope city. So if you like city, if you like urban, you need to be having that on your list. Like, okay, I'm looking for an urban environment that I can go. You also need to be thinking about, though, if you move into a big city, how easy is it going to be for you and your children to really socialize? Because especially for the children, socialization is really important. And big cities can feel very impersonal. So you really need to be thinking about that as you're about to make such a huge shift, a huge movement for you and your family. Am I trying to do the city? Am I really, really trying to make my children make that level of a leap and a transition, and how will we do that? And my children have traveled so much that we have been up north in Bahia for almost a year, and we had come down south and actually thought we were leaving the country and just got taken by Sao Paulo. But up north we were in a smaller town. We were in the 30,000 size town, this town called Itacaré in Bahia. We had all the culture, the arts, the indigenous culture, the ayahuasca, we had everything there. The capoeira, the African drums, the candomblé, everything was there. So that was lovely, but we decided we wanted to have a different experience. So we went down south, had a different experience, had an urban experience, hung out in Rio de Janeiro, did the whole kind of the key spots in Brazil. And we got up out of there, missing it every day too. I'm hoping to be able to take a group back for November to go on a scouting tour for real estate and just to go check out some of the culture of Bahia. But yeah, choosing a place, you gotta know what it is you love, what it is you like, what do you want to expose your children to, what are some of the key things you want to accomplish in moving to this new spot. Is this going to be somewhere you're doing like a long staycation for a few months? Are you trying to stay a year or two? Give a feel for what you're trying to do. And then another huge factor in choosing a place is how long will they let me stay? What's the visa looking like? What will it look like for me to acquire a residency in this place? And you have to have all that clear up front. Because a lot of these places like Brazil, you want to get started on those processes before you even get there. You know what I mean? You don't want to get there and be trying to work out all your stuff. If you know you're looking for a residency, what is it going to take for you to get that residency? There are some various routes to residency, but it's not that easy to get in a lot of countries. Some countries will let you buy in and pay for a residency, so that is an amazing option, right? But everywhere is, most countries have that, but a lot of times we're talking, hundreds of thousands of dollars, a lot of money. So yeah, these are all the things that you need to be thinking about. Right now we're in the Virgin Islands. This is our home base usually in between our travels and different things. We come back here because this is where our community is at. And this is why we choose this place. This is offshore. It's not really U.S. American stateside vibes at all, but it's still in the U.S. territory. So we still get a different experience, even though certainly for me, it isn't ideal because of the price, the cost of living is extremely high here. So I lost that by leaving Brazil and coming back here. The cost of living is just so much bigger. But it was worth it for me because my support system is here. My real heart, my real true peoples are here. My friends are here. And my support system is rich. My children have support. So it's worth it for me. My community is here. You need to be thinking about where are you going, where you really get a feel that you're going to be able to build community, as an expat, as a traveling family. You're going to want some community around you and your children, no matter if you even stay in just 6 months, or if you only plan to stay a year or two, or whatever it is, or if you're just looking for somewhere to move for ongoing. Which usually I would say you probably aren't going to necessarily land at your first place on the first trip out. But either way it goes, you want to be able to go somewhere where you feel like there's a good chance, hi everyone, of tapping into some community for your family, for your children. They're going to need that. They're going to want that. Language is a big part of how easy it is to establish that. Do they have language skills for the country they're going to or not? That needs to be determined. And what needs to happen with that, whether it's taking language classes before you leave, making sure you get them in language classes there in the local environment so they can get the colloquialisms and the local way of talking down. Also, yeah, thinking about that, the community is key. That's high up on the list, because I'm telling you, it's the worst thing when you get your children somewhere like this. Is what happened to us in Bahia, though it was a small town in Bahia, because of the culture of Brazil, and the culture of Bahia and the mentality and the way people kind of operate. It's a very fechado, it's very closed off. So really it would take a long time for you to be considered kind of a part of a friend group or a community somewhere like Bahia, Brazil, because it's small and the people they're very insular and they deal with people they've been knowing, and they might engage with you as a foreign person, but mostly it will be about commerce. It's mostly going to be about commerce if they're engaging with you, or they're thinking you have something they want. Unfortunately, that's the opportunism issue. It's pretty major. So with all of that being said, that wasn't a great place for my kids, even though there was a lot of activities. It was super fun and super rich, super cultural, way more fun for me because it's easier for me to make friends and I speak the language and stuff. So it was way more fun for me, which is why we left there. We probably could have done better if we'd moved to Salvador, which is where I used to live, which is the big city in Bahia, because people are friendlier there. It's a little less insular. They're used to foreigners. But, I didn't feel like doing, Salvador with my kids. So we did Sao Paulo, and we had a blast. A great time, lived in a great area, the artist district. It was super bohemian, boho, chic, just amazing area called Villa Madalena in Pinheiros, which is right there in just this certain section of kind of like southwest section of Sao Paulo. It was amazing. So yeah, you really have to get a feel for what it would look like for you to make this shift with your children, because you want to be really delicate to them, not take them on some drastic transition, this drastic change, and not have thought about them being able to kind of ease and have ease in their transition of some sort. Did you have any experience in Central America? I was we just left Costa Rica. We're back in the Caribbean now, but we were in Costa Rica for 6 months. I only did 6 months there. I've lived in Mexico, so those are kind of my experiences in Central America, which Mexico is not technically Central America, I guess, but we just left Costa Rica. I know a lot about Central America. I have friends all up, all through there. I would say it's pretty good. I have no interest in any other part of Central America. I have family in Panama. Costa Rica was not my favorite. It's okay, but it's not my favorite. Hi, Fanique. Peace and love. I'm back in the Caribbean, sis. I know where you're at. Hope all is well. So yeah, Central America works for a lot of people. Like I was saying earlier in the video, Tote, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but like I was saying earlier in the video, it wasn't very inexpensive. So obviously somewhere like Costa Rica, you got to know that's like the most expensive country in Latin America. It wasn't all that. Belize, yeah, I know some people in Belize. Some people really like Belize, yeah. And then I prefer Mexico for Central America. If I was going to do anything, I would just go back there because I really love it. Yeah, Belize is giving, I know it's very rural. I know it's not very developed. So that could be good for some people depending upon what you're looking for. Not the place where you're going to get major savings, I don't believe, in terms of your lifestyle. So if you're looking to go somewhere that is, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, I don't know that Belize is that one, but it just depends on what you're looking for. It can really work for some people, and it's giving the kind of Caribbean energy that a lot of people tend to like. That's why I'm always in the Caribbean. It's just my preferred lifestyle, right? But yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for. And what I think is a great benefit of Belize is its proximity to Mexico, which is just such a killer, just amazing location, So you're right there where you can just kind of be back and forth over the border, especially if you're over there, trying to go into Quintana Roo and all of that. So there's a lot to be said about Belize as a possibility. And it has its little cultural stuff, and it's, a lot of Mayan culture, a lot of that kind of, what are they called? The ones that do the punta, I forget what the kind of this black population that I think came from St. Vincent and have been living in Central America for many years. I forget what they're called, Garifuna. So they have their Garifunas there. They have their little thing going. It looks nice. But yes, honey, thinking about all those things. Right now, my sis is on here who lives in Hawaii. It's like, I've lived in Hawaii. Me and my daughter, our first official move offshore was to Kauai, Hawaii. And then we were on the Big Island. Beautiful, wonderful place. Hawaii, magic, pure magic. But you have to be realistic about, what can I afford? Like, what kind of lifestyle do I want to have? And am I going to be able to have that lifestyle in this particular place, given my financial reality. And so really examining that budget and what you're able to pay on a monthly basis and being real clear about that is going to kind of help to narrow down your list for sure, right? But for me, I had to balance so many different things in my community, and my access to certain things here in the Caribbean where we're at was just outweighing me going and living in Mexico for like, $600 a month or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like I had to weigh it all out. So, and I'm glad I made the decision to come back home. But where I'm really, really, really just longing and missing is Brazil. So hopefully we'll be able to take a group out to Brazil. I'm here pretty soon. But yeah, ask any questions. I'm going to answer some questions and I'm going to get ready to go. Also, we have a PDF book we just wrote and released. So it's Find Your Free. So it's giving some kind of just some basic instruction on how to prepare and get your life in order to get ready to move offshore, to get ready to move abroad. And that is available in the link tree in my bio. So if you're interested, click on the link. It's on Etsy. The instant download. You'll get it as soon as you click the link and pay for it. And I think it's a good way to get started. It's a good way to kind of get your whole process going so you can get ready to get up out of America. Let's be real. There's nowhere for nobody to be raising their children, especially no brown children. And it just is what it is. I mean, some of us are offshore. That's a little different. We live different. We live different when we're off the mainland. But mainland America, and as far as I'm concerned, is nowhere for nobody to be raising their children right now. Not really. So, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, who wants to be living under that level of just mental duress and stress? Oh, thank you, sis. Absolutely. If you have anything else to ask me, feel free. I appreciate you coming on and staying with me. I'm going to leave this up, but I think it is good information. And I have a lot of information. I do the consultations, too, with people. That's in my link tree, too. But I consult, I help people get their vision together, narrow down, and get into some of the details of what it would look like for them to make this happen. And then I fill in the, blanks with certain resources and stuff like that with a PDF that I send out to people after the meeting. Hi, greetings. But yeah, really, really trying to get your plan together is key right now. Because, and we think about some of what's happening politically with BRICS and all these different things. I'm not political at all, but I'm just saying there's certain alignments and things that are happening globally, and you want to have yourself positioned in the right place with access to different currencies and just access to all the things that are going to allow you to transition as we go forward. Not to mention all of this AI agenda and all of this agenda that they're laying on so thick right now. It's like, a lot of us are just reverting and going back to a more simple lifestyle and going back to nature, going to live places where, it may not be as developed. It might not be all the amenities, but you still feel like a normal person. Not like this hybrid. They're just moving us towards almost like a merger with technology, which, I'm not complaining. Technology is allowing me to be here talking to y'all right now, so I can't front and act like I don't see the value, but I'm just saying the way things are moving, it's going to get weirder and weirder, especially in places like the U.S. And I think we already know that. And it's been steadily doing that and steadily been on the decline, especially in terms of any kind of morality or anything like that. So, as parents especially, and that's what my market and that's who I speak to, is other parents who are ready to unschool, who are ready to homeschool, who are ready to pull their children's minds back into the house, back into the family culture, and out of the system, and being programmed by the schools and all the systems that they have in place, right? So, yes, hit me up. Check my link tree if you need anything. And I hope y'all have a beautiful Tuesday. Give thanks for staying on with me.